displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the parks professor. First hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. The first two holes on this course play out and then across this dam that forms Cahulga Creek Lake. Honestly, these two holes are very wide open, and they're pretty boring, and really their main function is to get you over to the north side of the dam, where the more interesting holes lie. I want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the parks professor. We are at the Lake Point Disc Golf Course. We are at Cahulga Creek Park in Heflin, Alabama. And so we're in eastern Alabama, just a few miles north of I-20. There's the first basket. And there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The second hole continues across the dam, and it also plays down the steep east side of the dam. This hole is very long for a par 3, but it is completely wide open until we get right up by the basket. The lake on the right is deep water, and if you caught a bad gust of wind or missed well to the right, or maybe even got a bad ricochet off of the steep slope, your disc definitely could find that lake right there. And any disc that goes into the lake is almost surely going to be a lost disc. So there is some challenge here. You don't want to miss right, and due to the hole's length, you also need a pretty good arm to get up here in only a couple of throws. We're going to jump down the really steep section, and now we're to the basket. There is dense woods behind the basket, so you also don't want to miss long here. There's the basket and the view back to the tee. The next 6 holes play through a steep and densely wooded area, and they're the only really tight holes on this course. This hole plays steeply uphill and also with a pretty steep left to right cross slope. It is a little bit tight right in front of the tee, but there are tighter holes to come. Once you get through that first tight gap, the rest of this hole has reasonable width. There is a steep drop off to the right of the basket, so you do not want to miss right on this hole. The fourth hole is very similar to the previous hole. It's moderately uphill. It has a steep cross slope from left to right, and it's somewhat tight, although again, there are tighter holes to come. I captured this video on Thursday, February the 1st. And it was a warm, sunny day with temperatures in the upper 60s when I came here. There is a steep drop off to the right, and you really don't want to miss right on either this hole or the previous hole. Now we're almost to the top of the ridge for the 5th hole, and the 5th hole is flatter than the previous 2 holes. This hole has a reasonably wide fairway, but there is a sharp drop off to the right, and there's also a sharp drop off behind the basket. So you don't want to miss right or long on this hole. But if you can avoid those 2 pitfalls, then really this is a pretty easy hole. There's the basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 6th hole gets us all the way to the top of the hill, and therefore it is the last uphill hole on the front 9. It is a gradual dogleg left, and it is a fairly tight hole with a large number of small trees on either side of the fairway. So you're going to need an accurate throw with a right to left disc flight in order to set up a birdie opportunity on this hole. There's the basket. And there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 7th hole is the shortest hole on this course, and there is this double mando directly in front of the tee. I'll be honest, I really hate that double mando, but it's there. This hole does have a steep right to left cross slope, and it is a fairly tight hole with a large number of pine trees and other trees here. It's going to take an accurate throw to get to this basket, but with an accurate throw, this hole is aceable because of its length. Right after the shortest hole on this course comes the longest hole on this course. The 8th hole is a long, downhill, sweeping dogleg left par 4. It does have a fairly wide fairway, but in fact, This fairway is also a spur trail to the famous Pinhoti backpacking trail. And I did see a couple of hikers out here coming up this trail when I was out here. And so there is a potential safety hazard. You have to watch for other pedestrians when you go to throw here. There is a sharp drop off to the right, and there's a steep hillside off to the left. And in fact, this is the last densely wooded hole really on this entire course. You need a couple of good long downhill throws in order to set up a birdie opportunity here. I really do like this hole. This is possibly my favorite hole on the front nine. Although, as I mentioned, a spotter would really come in handy due to the pedestrian traffic coming up the trail. You really can't see them coming around the curve here in this hole in this fairway. The last bit of the fairway plays slightly back uphill to get to the basket. That is the dam you see off to the right, and so we're almost back to where we started in terms of the course route. Ninth hole, and of course final hole on the front nine. It plays from an elevated tee and plays back along the downstream side of the dam. We're going to jump down to the fairway and then walk up to the basket. This is a very wide fairway, but there are some pine trees off to the right. And those pine trees can really grab your disc if you get over there based on my experience. I want to thank you for watching this video. Parking full-time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. This course has some flaws. There are a couple of safety issues, and there are some holes that are not the most exciting holes. But for a small town course just off of I-20, it's actually a pretty nice course. And if you're driving along I-20 through eastern Alabama, I think it's definitely worth coming to play here. That is the end of the front nine. I will see you on the back nine. Until then, have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.